The final argument for atheism or against the existence of God is really just a designation for a whole class of different arguments that have the same general point. They're again a posteriori arguments, that is, they have at least one empirical premise in them. And in general, what they do is they claim that, look, one of the central purposes of religious belief is to explain the existence and nature of the universe, how the universe came to be, how the universe works. But the supposition of this Judeo-Christian monotheistic deity lacks the power to explain X, fails to explain Y, and so on. And there are a whole bunch of different things, many of them from contemporary science or medicine, that seem not to be explicable within the context of religious belief, at least monotheistic Judeo-Christianity. And this is one of the reasons why the theory of evolution was so hotly contested when it first came into existence. So the theory of evolution really continues to spark debate even today, precisely because it purports to explain the existence and the nature of past and present life forms in a purely materialistic framework, without appeals to any supernatural powers or deities or so on. So evolution predicts that life is going to have features that differ significantly from the features that you might predict if you advocated creationism or intelligent design. So evolution is just a sort of satisficing mechanism. We have mutations. If those mutations confer some evolutionary advantage, then individuals will be selected. They'll live long enough to reproduce. That mutation will increase its prevalence in the overall population, and it will become a significant feature in that population. It doesn't require that it's a perfect solution or even a kind of optimal solution. But with creationism or intelligent design, you do seem to need that. Evolution's predictions, however, have been quite successful. In fact, it's one of the best event scientific theories ever. And in particular, it makes a lot of predictions that are consistent with features about the anatomy and other properties of organisms that are just quite inconsistent with creationism or intelligent design, precisely because they don't look like an optimal choice. They don't look like the sort of choice that an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-loving creator would design. So an example of this, a really nice example of this, really, is given to us in looking at the digestive tract of various herbivores. So if you were designing a digestive tract for herbivores, right, all herbivores consume exclusively plant matter, and they get their nutrients not from the plant matter itself purely, but rather they have a series of digestive chambers within their digestive tract that break down the plant matter as much as possible. Now, that doesn't provide them with a lot of protein because the fibers in plant matter, although they are carbohydrates, are pretty much undigestible by most animals. And as a result, they don't really get digested. So what happens in these various chambers, the plant matter gets broken down as much as possible. The nutrients are extracted from that broken down matter, and the bacteria that help to break down that plant matter that are in the digestive tract, those actually provide the protein that supports the animal. So when you look at the digestive tract of herbivores, what you see and what you would expect to see is a series of fermentation chambers, right? Ultimately leading to a chamber where you get a lot of absorption of nutrients and proteins, right? And you would want that chamber to be in the digestive tract in a place that optimizes absorption of nutrients. But in some herbivores, that's not really the case. And in fact, when we look at the rabbit, what we find is that the rabbit's fermentation chamber, the the chamber that does all the absorption of nutrients and proteins, right? That chamber actually really is right at the end, right by the exit point, as it were. And so rabbits, in order to get the nutrients out of their food, right, they actually eat their own feces, their pellets. So in some weird way, it seems like God decided, if God created rabbits according to intelligent design, that rabbits should sort of eat shit and die, which is a strange sort of choice to make if you're a beneficent, all-powerful creator. So I'll give you a little excerpt from this movie, Flock of Dodos, that makes this point rather well, I think.
The award, though, for unintelligent design, I think you'd have to give to rabbits. Rabbits have a truly, what we from a human vantage point, a truly disgusting design of their gut. Same thing, they eat plant matter, they chew it up as much as they can in their mouth, pass the food down, past the stomach, past the small intestine, past the large intestine, into the cecum. There's a chamber way in the back. That's their fermentation chamber. The problem is this is now past the absorptive site in the gut. They then excrete through the anus. These little pellets, they're called cecotrophs because they're produced in the cecum. It's not feces, but they excrete them. They turn around, eat them, process them again, and pass them now by the small intestine, where the nutrients are assimilated into the bloodstream. Where is the intelligent design in that?
Dude, he's totally doing it. He's chewing right now, too. You can see him chewing right after it happened, dude. It was there and it's not there anymore.
So this is where I say intelligent design. I say, what intelligent design? I defy you to first show me, document for me how all of this supposed great intelligence. Of course, there are, everybody talks about the eye. The eye is beautiful. The eye is beautifully designed. It really is remarkable how it does what it does. And there are other instances like this, things that are really wonderfully built to do what they do. I don't dispute any of that. But as I say, for every one of those, I can cite you 10 others of unintelligent design.
The idea then behind these lack of explanatory power arguments concerns whether or not the supposition of this monotheistic deity that's all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving, as a creator and designer of every aspect of the world, really makes sense once we start looking at the details of the world. In many ways, the world just doesn't look designed, or at least well designed. And the rabbit is an example. There are lots of other examples. For instance, the panda's thumb. Pandas don't really have thumbs, but they have these bone protrusions on their hands, the upper paws, that allow them to strip off the leaves from the bark, or from the bamboo that they eat. And this is an incredibly useful feature. But it's on their hands and it's on their feet, and they don't use it on their feet. So if you're a designer, if you can do anything you want, why would you put the bones on the panda's feet when they don't serve any purpose? Why not just put them on the panda's hand? Or why not design something even more efficient? And there are, of course, lots of other things. Once you start thinking about it, you say, well, why is it that parts are so difficult to replace in biological creatures? Why not have plastic parts or metal parts? Why not make it easy to interchange them to make life much more convenient for the creatures that you create? None of these questions really have an answer within the context of creationism or intelligent design. And this is, in essence, the problem that motivates these kinds of arguments, arguments that claim that there's a lack of explanatory power, that there is a better account of the existence and nature of the universe than the one offered up by that particular religion. Now, in the next lecture, we'll look at arguments for the existence of God within this Western tradition in the philosophy of religion.